All right, everybody. I'm Bobby Garcia from the Law Office of Bobby Garcia, and I'm here with actually Beulah Rivera, who's here from our office, and we're going to be talking about a few things today. Before we start talking, Beulah, I want to really have a follow-up on these cases that we have here pending at the office that I informed everybody here on Facebook about. And one, I talked to you all about the Good Samaritan that went to the rescue of these people because there was somebody that was real racially charged and was calling them the N-word, which is absolutely horrible, at one of our local stripes here. And the person that was making these statements, we have the Good Samaritan who steps in, and this guy ends up lunging at the Good Samaritan. They end up in a scuffle and a fight. The police come and they arrest both of them. They arrest the Good Samaritan for doing his good deed, and they ended up arresting the other guy who was under the influence of some narcotics, and he actually had some drugs in his vehicle. But there's a great end to this particular story, Beulah, is that the prosecutor, they do the right thing. They ended up dismissing the charges against the Good Samaritan, thank God. But it was still disappointing to have seen that the Good Samaritan had to go through this. But one of the things that I want to let the public know and let everybody know is it's amazing is that once things get out to the courthouse, the facts really get sorted out, and they did in this particular case. The prosecutor knew exactly what I was talking about when I got there, and they had discussed that in the prosecutor's office, and they dismissed the case. And so it was a good end to a really good story, and kudos and a big applaud to that individual that we're talking about, whose name we're not going to mention, but we're going to encourage everybody always to do the right thing and to step in anytime something like that happens. Right. The other thing I wanted to mention to everybody here on Facebook is about the case that we have here involving the doctor who's the rheumatologist and the medical internist who was misdiagnosing his patients and really over prescribing or just prescribing medications and treatments to these people that was just completely unfounded. We call it the Dr. Fraud case here at the office, and it's the individual, his name is Dr. Quesada, Zamora Quesada, and we will encourage everybody out here on Facebook that if you know of anybody or have a loved one or yourself has been affected, please come in and talk to us. This case right now is really starting to gain a lot of steam, and we need to talk to you all if you are somebody who's been affected by this particular doctor, okay? Now, what Beulah and I are going to do, we're going to talk about today are the cases that we have, which are, I call them the normal cases that we have that run through the office, which are our accident cases and what we call our premises liability cases, okay? And Beulah, can you tell everybody, out here on Facebook, what is it that we should be first doing anytime that we get involved in a crash with somebody, or that, something happens to us, we're in a store and there's an object that falls on us, or we slip and fall on some sort of substance? What is it that we're to do?
Well, obviously the first thing is to call the police if you're involved in an auto accident, regardless of who's at fault. That's the first thing you'd like to do. Make sure that the officer does get your statement. There are instances that the officer doesn't. One is that you've been rushed into the ambulance and taken away. He has to go in and talk to you at the hospital, make sure to get your statement. That's for the auto accidents. Obviously, on a slip and fall at a store, outside a store, even a parking lot. Also, it's embarrassing as it is that you fall, but you have to report it immediately. Otherwise, if you take time a couple of hours a day, it becomes an issue.
We've had cases here at the office where there's no report, and let me just tell you, it's very difficult,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it is.
To really work those types of cases. But Beulah, there are also some obstacles, and I would say some caution signs that we've got to be careful with. In for instance, a case that we have that involves a crash. Okay, what and who is it that we have to watch out for, and that we need to tell people out here on Facebook and out in the public that they've got to be careful when they're working a claim that involves either their property damage or the personal injury damage?
Well, obviously, a lot of people think that the adjusters are your friends. They are not. A lot of them get calls from adjusters saying, well, we'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. We'll send you to the doctor. 2 or 3 weeks later, come along and you still haven't seen a doctor. And then obviously you try taking care of it yourself that way. And you don't get anywhere because you're waiting for an adjuster to call you to say, hey, okay, now you can go to the doctor. It doesn't work that way. Don't believe what adjusters tell you. We see that a lot here.
Well, when you are at the scene of an accident or when you are at the scene of an incident inside of a store, the first people that come to your aid, they are usually trained. And
Yes.
at the stores, let me just tell you, they train these people in how to gather information and also evidence at the scene, right?
Right, yes, sir.
Police officers are obviously, they are taught and they go through a school that deals with this. And out at different stores or entities, they do exactly the same thing, and they usually have these policy manuals, and they almost always do have policy manuals as how do they follow these procedures,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
And so one of the first people that come up are the people investigating. We'll have a police officer, or you'll have the people from a store that'll come and start to ask you questions. And what is it that we've got to watch out for when this happens, Beulah?
Just try to tell them, either if it just happened and they're asking you questions, just tell them, I can't answer you right now. Call me later. Don't try to give them information, because what they're doing is seeking information to use against you. So at a scene of an accident, obviously, the officers will ask you, do you need medical attention? Obviously, sometimes at that point, you don't need it because you don't feel hurt, but later on, either that evening or the following day, you start feeling sore. That also will hurt your case if you tell the officer, no, I don't need medical attention. Obviously, just say, I don't need it right now, but I will go seek medical attention on my own later today. That would be your best answer to the officer.
Yeah, that I would say probably over 95% of the times that we have people that have even serious injuries in accidents,
Yes.
they do not go to the emergency room. It's incredible,
Yes.
but it might even be higher, and probably is higher percentage than that they do not go to the emergency room and they have serious injuries that later on require surgical intervention, right?
That's correct, yes.
And so, people are usually in shock, whether they've slipped and fallen or some object has fallen on them, they've hurt themselves somehow, or they're involved in an accident and they have all of this adrenaline running and they don't feel anything until later. And through experts, through doctors, through all of the witnesses and parties that I have represented in the past almost 30 years, I've seen a consistency, with this.
Yes.
And so what Beulah's telling you all is be very careful in what you say, because there is an insurance company on the other side that is going to use that information against you. And let me tell you is that whether it's your insurance company that is out because you're making a claim with your insurance, or it's a third-party insurance, which meaning the other people's insurance company, I will tell you this with 100% certainty, that they're never out to help you. To the contrary, their objectives are really to save themselves money. So in saving themselves money, what are the sorts of things that they do, Beulah?
I mean, they'll come back and offer, if they're not being represented by obviously an attorney, they'll come and call you and say, we'll offer you $400, $500. To them, it's, go away, sign it. If you agree to it, it's a little bit harder for us also to try to get it settled, because they'll come back and say, well, she agreed. It was a verbal agreement, and, we have it as she's agreeing to those $500. Obviously, people sometimes will just say, I'll accept it, because they don't want to be bothered by the adjusters anymore. Obviously, if you've done that, you can always retract it and say, you know what, I need to go back and get medical attention. A lot of times they'll come back and say, well, your property damage wasn't that much. They always come back, it's low velocity. They're not experts on property damage. We're not experts. That's why you take your vehicle and get it inspected. Photos, again, that's evidence, but we need it in writing.
Yeah, also. So, keep this in mind, is that anytime that you get involved in a crash, and that you've got to be very careful, because the objective of the insurance company is to pay you less. And if you're working these claims out on yourself, oh my God, it's just it's an absolute disaster. Well, we've had people that come in and have asked us to help them work their property damage claim and their personal injury claim after they have already been involved in it for a long time. And a lot of times we say no, because by that time, the case is really messed up. It's like a surgery it's in the middle of a surgery and they're asking us to take it over. It just doesn't work that way. Be very careful, ladies and gentlemen, because the objective of the insurance company is to save you money. What I recommend for all of you all is to go to a lawyer that you trust, somebody that's going to represent your rights in order to get the right amount of property damage, because there's other elements of damage like loss of use, diminution in value, and that sort of thing that are incorporated into that. You have a brand new car, it's wrecked, the value goes down.
Right.
You're entitled to some money for that, and also for the personal injury part of it. You've got to be very, very careful with the way that these claims are handled, and the insurance adjusters hold the purse strings, to the amount of money that is going to be paid out. But something else that's very important is at the very beginning, when you are working your case, whether it's for property damage or personal injury damage, is the insurance companies put out a reserve. And let me tell you what that is. They set aside money to pay whatever the claim is. And so initially when you're working it, it's very important that you set a very good precedent, because if you don't, they're going to only set aside a little bit of money. And just like what Beulah said, you try to work this thing out on yourself. And we just discussed a case this morning in which the insurance adjuster went and offered our client $400 to get this, the claim worked out, when they knew good and well that claim is worth tens of thousands of dollars. But had they got this person to sign off on a release, they would get no money in the future. And we're talking about money that these people are entitled to. It's not free money. It's not money that has come from some slot machine or from the lottery. It's money that they're entitled to pay to fix their vehicle or to pay for medical bills or any personal injury damages, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. What other things are there that we've got to watch out for, Beulah, with these cases?
As far as your treatment, make sure you're consistent. Make sure to go treatment. Again, at the beginning, you might not want to go to the hospital. We get a lot of clients that come in and says, oh, well, I didn't want to go to the hospital because I don't have any insurance and I don't want to get billed. That's one of the things that we get a lot, which, again, it's important. As soon as it happens, call an attorney. We obviously, we'll guide you through every step that you need to take as far as trying to get you the best treatment you can get. So
yeah, that's a great point. Is let me tell you what we do here at the office. Is what we try to do is give you some direction. We tell you, most people have either their own doctors, or what we will do is give a list of doctors, and you choose, the doctor that is best for you. And we try to give people direction in what it is that they need to do in order to help themselves. But that was a real important point, as Beulah said, is that what these insurance companies do is they look for reasons not to pay claims. And one of the big reasons is they look for gaps in treatment, and they look like, I got you. You didn't go to the doctor because you didn't need the doctor. And the truth of the matter is most of us work, we have other responsibilities, and we're not able to make a doctor's visits because of that, And so you will have an insurance adjuster on the other side just beating us over the head, whether it's in pre-lit or whether it's in a mediation, and telling us that the claim is not worth as much as it is because there has been a gap in treatment. And the thing is that a doctor will give you a course of treatment over a period of time. And what you've got to do is you've got to listen to that doctor, because those are the guidelines that the insurance companies follow when paying a claim, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, are there anything else, Beulah, that we've got to look out for?
Again, just be careful what you say to, the insurance adjusters, especially. Again, it's important that they do talk to the officer at the scene and make sure you give them the account of the accident. Sometimes, like I said, they don't talk to the other party. So that's very important as well.
Well, that's a real important point, because what happens is the insurance adjusters will call you and they will ask you, can we take a recorded statement of you? And what they will do, and you say, yeah, I go right ahead. Well, let me tell you, that recorded statement, if you think it's to help you, it's not. The recorded statement is specifically to be used against you. I've never seen a recorded statement where the adjuster has come out and said, hey, this is to help our insured.
Right.
It's always not. It's always a reason not to help, the insured. It's just unbelievable. I've been going through this, but where my son's vehicle was towed from college back home, and we had to make a claim on our own insurance because we're having problems with a towing company, right? Mm-hmm. And so the towing company goes and looks at the damage of the vehicle, and it's thousands of dollars of damage, right? They look under it and they say, oh, this is nothing, and they give us the most, oh my God, it was the most ridiculous, unbelievable estimate of damages on that vehicle. I mean, it was just incredible. And I want you to understand something. These people know that we're lawyers, right? Here, that we've got a law office. They know that who's making the claim, and they're there trying to take advantage of us. I cannot imagine what they would do to just the average insured that's out there. And I will tell you this, is that years ago, is that I've had the occasion of suing various insurance companies for different reasons, right? And have been able to go and take depositions of some of the white-collared people out at the insurance company. And it is amazing how they systematically, it's part of their goals, it's part of the objectives they have, is in not paying claims, because they know that there are certain people, there's a certain demographic of people that are not going to fight those claims or go through the trouble of going and hiring a lawyer and to get paid that claim. In my case, believe it or not, I'm having to pay out of my own pocket for my son's vehicle to get fixed, okay? Because otherwise it would just sit there. And then I've got to file a lawsuit against the insurance company just to ask them to pay what I paid on that particular vehicle. And it's just incredible. Us who have access to the courthouse, I can't imagine how difficult it is for people that don't have access, Beulah? And Beulah here is one of amazing people that works claims here at the at the law office, builds our cases, and so she knows these cases from A to Z. You see them every single day coming in. We see all different types of cases, and so we have an idea, of how it is that these cases are resolved, and what are some of the pitfalls. But recorded statements that are also taken of you, I would never let anyone. We do not even let our clients here at our office take recorded statements when insurance companies ask for them. We tell the insurance company they want to do it. It's going to happen when we file a lawsuit and they take a deposition of our clients. But we do not allow any of that. If they want a written statement from us, we give them a written statement, but that's about as far as we will go, right?
Yes, sir.
How much longer do we have, Frankie?
5 minutes.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about, what happens when somebody comes into the office, Beulah, what is it that we can do for somebody?
Okay, I mean, if you come into the office, obviously we'll sit down with you, get your information. We try to guide them as best we can. Find out how it happened. If they don't have the crash report, a lot of times they don't have it when they come in, or when they come and set up an appointment with us. We will take care of that for them. Obviously, the crash is affected them already. We don't want them worrying about, I have to go pick up the crash report. I got to see if they have insurance. We just tell them, we'll take care of it from now on, and we'll set up the claim. And we kind of explain to them it's a process. Once liability clears, we give them a call. We try to put them in a rental, and then make sure that they're going to their treatment. Get their property damage. It's a two-part process. First one is your property damage, which consists of any property that was damaged, whether it was you were hit by a semi or car and pushed you into a street light or something. All that is considered property damage, but we take care of yours first. Your vehicle is first. And then your bodily injury claim is second. And it's a process, like I said. You go to, your visits, and depending on what the recommendations from each doctor are, you need to follow it because it's important.
Yeah, the property damage claims are actually worked a lot quicker because they're easy to quantify. And the bodily injury claims are the ones that are a lot more difficult to quantify because they involve human beings, and we don't know the extent of, the legal damages that a person has. And so that process is a little bit more extensive. Okay. Well, one of the things that we'll do is we'll talk about this probably during our next session, is what we do afterwards and with respect to the evaluation of a claim and that sort of thing. But I would invite everybody out that's watching this that anything ever happens to you, we would love for you all, of course, to call us. That way that we could have a first crack at your case, and that we could help you resolve, all the legal issues with respect to it. But if you don't come to us, go to somebody that you definitely do trust that can help you, and then that way that you can come out with some sort of a disposition of your claim that is going to be satisfactory to you. And thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beulah.
You're welcome, Bob.